Legendary super producer Buckwild, and I'm here for my boy Julian from the creators and RecordKingz.com. I first met Julian through my boy Lord Finesse. We were using different record dealers here in the States, and I don't know exactly how he met Julian, but he told me about this guy, from England who had mad crazy dope records, and I don't remember the exact day he came, but when he came, we all met at my house. Back then I had a garage full of records, and our first meeting with him, I would really be, just trading hip hop records for, samples. And it's like, when this guy came, he had a lot of dope samples that were really just from UK, France, Germany and stuff from overseas. And it's like, over here we weren't getting a lot of that stuff. So we made our first transactions. It was good. We kept in touch, and then from there we became cool. Crate digging culture these days, I feel like it's more diminished, due to the changes it's been going through. Like, you can say the recession, a lot of new guys coming in. Number three, the pricing of records, of how high they are. These things have affected, that massively. And then number two, a lot of these guys who are, crate digging on the internet, e-digging of what they call it. That's affected a lot of the stuff. It's like, it's kind of brought the value of some of the records down, of the really good records, and a lot of people, they're not trying to spend that money. But, surviving with this, I use the same tactics I always use, which is just trying to stay dusty, keeping good with the dealers, like, my man Julian, and trying to stay ahead of the game by finding the new samples. For me, putting beats together, I use various things sometimes. Sometimes I might use an MPC 2500. That's one of the last things I was using. Then I went from the 2500. I got kind of bored with that. Then I developed into Reason because, the ability to chop samples and have guys play sounds on top of them was a lot easier. And now technically I'm using the machine. So I'm giving this a try because you can do the same things you can do with Reason and an MPC. And also using Pro Tools. Pro Tools, I use that because after I have the beat tracked out, I have it sequenced the way I want it. Then I have the guys come in and play everything, track by track, except probably the drums. So it's like, if I chop a sample, I can recreate the whole sample and make it sound the way it's supposed, the way I want it to sound, and still sound like the sample. Alright, synth sounds versus sample. To me, I don't knock the dudes who use synth sounds because, that's their thing. I know a lot of them are generic and everyone seems to sometimes find the same sounds, but for me, what I like to do is, my records are ever changing. So for me, it's like I look for different type of sounds and different type of samples, and it's like I might incorporate that with some of the synth sounds, but it might not be the most popular. But I'll take that, like I said, and it's like we'll replay it and we'll make our own totally new thing. And you might hear that on some of the records that are coming out or some of the records that you heard already. 2009, 2010 resurgence of sample, yeah, I think it has been. And I think it's good for the game, but the only thing that I really see the surgence in is like for one type of sample, which is really like the soul sample. After the Blueprint, you know, it's been a big surge up until now. And even after American Gangster, Jay-Z's album, you know, he was real instrumental in bringing that sound back. But unfortunately, you know, you have a lot of producers, you have to really be creative with what you do, because you don't want to sound like everybody. You know, between those times up until now, and now like the rock samples, people are looking for certain type of rock samples because, you know, there's certain records that they like that they want to sound like. But for me, it's like, I have to always want to make something that's going to be to the left that doesn't sound the same way, so it can stick out, even though it might not be tagged, you know, with the producer name at the beginning. Right now, we live in an age where it's like you don't read the credits, etc. So it's like you might not know, but you might like the record. It's like, for me, I've come into that problem a lot. Rating the RecordKingz site, I would have to give it a 10. You know, I have a pretty strong collection, and it's like sometimes, you know, talking to Julian, not only just seeing the site, you know, it's kind of funny that he has some of the same music that I have, and to me it's like I go to the ends looking for it. You know, like even some of the complete KPM catalogs, you know, when that was happening, you know, the Japanese soundtracks, you know, when that was happening, the even down to, you know, the European, German rock stuff that they have. So it's like when you look at it, he has a lot of things that a lot of people just aren't really up on, you know. And you know, sometimes going to the site can be a tutorial for, you know, the people who don't know. So, you know, on that, you know, judging from me, like if I didn't have any of the stuff I had, I would have to give them a 20 instead of a 10. But being that some, you know, we share some of the same records, I definitely have to give them a 10. Well, just recently, I think I just reached out to Julian for, you know, the preloaded drop, you know, because with evolution, the ever-changing cycle that we go through with music and life, right now we're getting to, it's easier to make beats and it's faster. What might have took you 10 hours to make a beat nowadays can take you an hour or two. So just having the records and able to scroll through them on a drive, you know, rather than just looking in a shelf from record to record, when it's like, you know, you can just search your drive, find what you want, load the sample up, chop it the way you want, like recycle, whatever, Ableton, whatever program you want to use. You know, it's getting older, you have to be able to keep up with that, because that's what the younger dudes are using. So if you want to survive in the game, you have to do as the people who are now in front of you are doing. So that's why, you know, I believe that, you know, that's the new way. Some of the artists I work with, a lot of cats don't know a lot of the records I've done. You know, I've worked with anyone from Jay-Z to Biggie to Babyface to Faith Evans to Game to 50 Cent to OC to Organized Confusion, Mike Geronimo. During those times, I worked with everybody, probably except Tupac. Tupac might have been the only person I haven't worked with. And of course, you know, I work with DITC, that's my crew, Big L, Lord Finesse, Fat Joe, Showbiz, and AG. Even right now, working, even still to this day, I just recorded a song with T.I. Today I'm working on a song for Joe. I'm on the CNN project. I just finished that song with them and Nas. And I got a couple of things that we're talking about working, and you know, it's definitely coming. Yeah, we could definitely, you know, see a collaboration with Julian. I definitely like that, because I know between me and him, with, you know, the amount of records and samples that we have combined, even if we did not just a remix project, but an actual project, I think it would definitely be ridiculous.